Welcome to the What Are We Doing Phillies podcast. Today's guest is Brian Flannery, sales representative in the medical field and Kevin's uncle.
And we're back with another guest on the What Are We Doing Phillies podcast. As you heard in the intro, the third Flannery that I am bringing on to the podcast. My Uncle Brian has been nice enough to join me. So welcome.
Thank you, Kevin. Hello. Thanks for having me, my friend.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to talk a bunch of Phillies baseball, and before we've had so many different people on the podcast at this point. We've had, of course, my uncle, my dad has done. I almost forgot to mention Dad when I was going over all these people that I did. Dad was one of the latest. Mr. Duncan did, I think, the last guest series that doesn't include me and Caleb talking about free agents for 45 minutes. And then the Zoom call cutting out the last time we did the podcast. So
Technology is great, isn't it, Kev?
Well, Zoom, I'll give people some background if you heard that podcast, and even if you didn't. Zoom, if you don't have a account, like a paid subscription, you can only do a 45-minute Zoom
call. And they cut you off,
and then it cuts you off. So we're messaging back and forth, like on the document that we have all our notes on. We're like, okay, I said, I got a notification. We got 10 minutes left on the Zoom call until it shuts you down.
Oh, yeah.
So we're like,
it's a hard stop.
We think that, we should be able to get it done in 10 minutes. If you haven't watched it, spoiler alert, we did not get it done in those 10
You're
minutes.
You're chatty Cathy, Kev. There's no way you're fitting anything in 10 minutes.
Not at all. So we were trying to wrap up. We had like half the, a little bit more of the list to go and some other notes about the pitching staff that we were talking about.
Yep.
And Caleb got on a rant about some guy playing on like 5 or 6 different teams.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets on this tangent. All of a sudden, he's mentioning all these teams. Then he goes away. He's in the middle,
cut off.
middle of going, and he just goes, and I go, and we lost him. So there goes day game Cleveland. And so now none of that can be a problem because you are right in front of me.
I like it.
Doesn't have to be online, even though those are working out better. We're working on that for the regular season. Bunch of little changes to the podcast for the regular season, Zoom calls and new professional intros that I'm working on right now and recorded. As you heard, today's intro is back to Brielle recording the intro because I didn't get Mr. Monero to do this intro because I didn't exactly know when I had him in that I was going to do this one. So this is kind of like a pop-up one. So we'll see what happens. Monero will do the next 3 for this podcast if needed. And then spring training will get the creative ideas. So once you listen, you can make your opinions on what these funny intros come to be. We came up with a bunch of funny ones. It took like a 45-minute recording session. So for anyone basically who's going to listen, knowing also spring training, I'm going to give this announcement now and next week if I do one of these podcasts. Spring training, I'm back with daily podcast after the games, 5 to 7 minutes, talking about the useless spring training game, but entertaining because I have nothing else to watch other than the Olympics and curling and all these other random things that Dad and Lori were so emotionally invested in yesterday.
Wow.
Which
big fans of curling, are they?
I think big fans of something to watch on the television.
Anything, right?
When hockey's not playing and all these different sports are not playing, but because we only have about a week and a half-ish until we get actual baseball games, the first one's on Friday the 20th. I don't know if I'm going to do a podcast that day to react to the Padres game, but if the Padres end up getting he who must not be talked about, and we'll talk about him in a second, then I might be doing it just to be annoyed at the Padres for a minute. So I think we should, we'll get into that. That'll be the first Phillies topic. But first off, you, again, I'm along with Dad and Uncle Johnny X, who've been Phillies fans most of their lives. I'm guessing you're around the same turn. Did you always love the Phillies when you were younger?
Yeah, growing up in our family with your dad and my brother John and everybody, being the youngest of 6, only one TV on in the house usually. So when you're young, you're watching whatever your dad's watching. So, or when our grandpop was over. But
you have the least amount of control. You're the lowest level of the totem pole.
You have no idea, Kev. Low man on the totem pole was right. So being the youngest of 6 is not the easiest of thing growing up, but it worked out well for me. I would never change the way I grew up and the family that we have. It was great. Very lucky. But always was growing up as being a 4-for-4 type of person and for the Philadelphia sports, whether it's Eagles or the Phillies or the Sixers and Flyers. Definitely a huge fan. of any type of Philly sports. We just last couple of years we bought season tickets for me and my son to go down, or a 16-game package. So I might not sit there for all 9 innings because I get too frustrated and walking around and stuff like that. But I'm in and out of every single game. And I remember watching it with my grandpa growing up, and him just saying how much they're bums here or bums there or something, or going to a Philly.
The famous older person phrase is the bum.
Yep, it's a bum. It's right.
Normally, he's a bum. You're a bum. That's how the older generation uses
describes it.
Bum.
There's a lot more colorful words now that the younger generations are using, Kevin. We'll keep them off these. We'll keep them off these airwaves, though.
Yes.
But I also remember growing up, being real young in the neighborhood, and one of the dads taking us down, all the kids going down to the Phillies at the Vet and getting like $5 tickets on a Sunday afternoon and sitting up at the 700 level eating peanuts, watching the Phillies. So I've always been a big fan of the Phillies.
Yeah, I always think about different moments, like watching the games, even like now watching the games on TV. And I had this conversation a few weeks ago, but like listening to the game. You watch the game on the TV, but you also listen to the radio, and the radio is very important when you get to spring training and stuff, because the radio has more of the games than the TV does for spring training games. So you end up listening to Scott Fransky and other guys that they decide to do like on the radio and stuff.
Radio, it's just so much better the way they paint the picture, and it was fun growing up. Whitey and Harry Callis calling the games. Those two voices were just awesome to listen to growing up, and they were some of the best. And now you got Fransky and Larry Anderson. I always enjoy, always makes you laugh. So the radio is a little bit different of an experience, but I like it a lot on the radio.
We were just watching. I was watching because you get to this point, and I was talking about in the last Exit 333 podcast that we just posted. That's on the YouTube channel if anyone wants to check that out. But we were talking about how when the Super Bowl ends, as we had a very bleh Super Bowl.
Meh.
The Super Bowl ends, and you just get to this week and a half, like 2-week period. Normally it's 3 weeks. Normally they don't start till like the end of the last week
for spring training.
Training.
Yep.
You get this for this year. You get this 2-week period of the Olympics are on, so there's no normal NHL hockey. Yep. They're all paused right now. The Sixers were on the West Coast.
Yep.
So I didn't have that to watch, and you have no football coverage like at all because it's all over. Except if you won the Super Bowl, you have a Super Bowl parade in Seattle that's probably happening mid to late this week.
I think it's happening right now. A buddy of mine that I work with said he's at the parade right now, so I think it's actually happening right now. Yeah, it's the dead time, right? This time, whereas in my favorite time of the year is October, is when it's playoff baseball, football's going on, basketball's just starting, hockey's just starting. It's the best. Like now in this downtime, about like 2 or 3 weeks of nothing going on. But you do have the Olympics, like you said. If you didn't have the Olympics, at least we'd probably have the Flyers and the Sixers to at least watch and keep us busy.
Yeah.
But it's the dead time of year.
It's the dead time of year, so that's when we have to bring you positive Phillies
Absolutely.
vibes.
Warm weather thoughts, Kev. Warm
weather thoughts, because I hate this weather so much. And anyone who knows me or listens to the podcast knows that I can't stand it. My friends, I think, are so done of me saying I hate this weather. They can, when I say the word hate, they know that the next word coming out is
winter.
Like, the weather. They know it's coming. And my one friend told me, goes, "Do you complain about the weather when it's hot too?" I'm like, yes.
Of course you do.
Yes, I complain about it.
When are you happy with the weather, Kev?
75 degrees and a little bit of a breeze.
So that's it. That's the only time you're happy.
Yeah, so San Diego weather.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
We were down
Can't
there,
afford San Diego weather as
No,
well. I'm going to tell you
can't.
that right now. I just got back from San Diego. It ain't cheap.
No, it's not, but it's a nice place to visit.
Darn straight. It's beautiful.
We've been there. We've been there before. And speaking of San Diego,
yep,
the Padres are one of the top teams in talks with the Phillies for Nick Castellanos.
You want my thoughts on that, Kev? I don't. When you go into a season and saying he's not going to be on the team, when you go into a season and just think, yeah, we're going to explore opportunities, I don't know what you think you're going to get. You're going to get a bag of balls. And I don't even think you're going to get that, because I would think that teams are just going to sit out there and wait for the Phillies to cut bait, so to speak. Last I heard, I thought I heard on the radio coming in today, was that he's not even going to show up. They don't even want him to come to spring training. So what possibly could the Phillies think that they're going to get besides a very low prospect or maybe just a relief pitcher that's not very good. I don't know what. I know it's a addition by subtraction, their thought process is, but was he really that bad?
I do not like Nick Castellanos. As anyone who knows me at this point, I do not like Nick Castellanos. Nick Castellanos made me so frustrated all of the time. His at-bats are terrible. Mm-hmm. His fielding is so bad, but people don't, when we've mentioned this before, people do not notice how bad his fielding was we haven't had anybody good out there since Harper went to first base.
Yep.
And that was great. We went down, he had an insanely negative WAR just because of his fielding. His negative fielding value is so bad. And the one thing you notice with him right away, he's not fast enough.
Right. Oh,
so
yeah.
You're in the outfield and balls, and it's hard. It's hard to put this into words. It's hard to watch and say, but he's catching the ball. But he's late to the ball.
Yep.
And and the ones that he's diving for, sliding for,
he shouldn't have to.
Because he's too slow.
Yep.
He's out there. He's a statue. He can't move.
Yep.
So that's, a massive, massive issue. And I've tried to explain this to certain people and they just don't get it. But he's out there. He's okay. He's catching the baseball. He's not. And there's also balls where he just doesn't get to it. It bounces right in front of him. And then you're like, oh, it was just a little flooper that made it down. No, most outfielders with
could have gotten to it.
Normal human speed, like Adolis Garcia.
Wait a minute, normal human speed. Are you trying to tell me you're faster than Nick Castellanos?
No.
Okay.
No, but normal Major League Baseball player.
Gotcha. I'm with you there. Thank you for clarifications.
Normal. He's also very tall and lanky, so you would think he would be faster than he is.
Yep.
But he's not. We last year had two slow monsters on our team. Him and Alec Boehm are not fast.
Well, they're the two ones that we ended last season with. A lot of fans and people thought that they would not be here as we're talking about it in spring training. But when the Phillies go through it and they're very vocal saying that they don't want them on the team or that they're exploring opportunities, what exactly do you think you're going to get for them when you're that vocal about it? I mean, you can, in my eyes, it's almost looking at what's going on with the Eagles right now with A.J. Brown. Now, A.J. Brown, if you've listened to him in the last few days, have been saying everything's great, very excited about going back to the Eagles, whereas before he wanted nothing to do with it and asked for 3 trades during the last year. But at least he's putting a positive spin on it right now that maybe somebody will be like, oh, well, now we can try and pick him up. With Casty, they were like, he's horrible, we don't want him back. Then nobody's going to want to come give you anything for him.
Yeah, I really don't understand that philosophy on their part. It doesn't make sense why, if you're physically shopping Alec Boehm or you're physically shopping Castellanos over the last 2 years, why in any business strategy would you talk down the product?
Correct.
It doesn't make sense. And I did hear that on the radio a few days ago with the 97.5 was talking about it.
Yep.
And this doesn't make sense. They're not that doesn't. It's a weird situation. He won't be with the team at spring training. I think if they don't trade him to somebody, and whoever wants to trade for him, the reason I brought the Padres up is I watch 2 teams in baseball. Phillies are my number 1, and the Padres are my number 2.
I never knew that, Kev.
Yes, so I follow the Padres very closely. So I'm like,
why?
Well, backstory. I watched them because it was a weird reason, but when I first got my first MLB game on my Xbox, the Padres was the first team that I used and the only team that I used.
All right.
It was a terrible version of the 2017 Padres, but a terrible version with Hunter Renfroe and Will Myers and some terrible players.
Why would you pick the Padres, Kevin?
I don't know. I liked the logo and I liked the team.
Not even the Phils? Being a Phils fan?
Well, I had the Phillies, but I'm like, I picked another team, and then I just kind of caught on to that. Who knew that would be one of the most painful experiences of my life? And now we're almost 10 years down the drain here. Not even 10 years, but because I also picked the Padres before I really started following baseball.
Okay.
I just picked them as another team to pick for. I knew the Phillies. I knew the Phillies players. I'm like, I'll pick some other team, not the NL East. Pick some other team. But then once I started following baseball in 2020, and now we're 6 years down the line, and I care deeply about the Phillies, and then I also care about the Padres, and watching them is like pulling your eyes out. Watching them half the time, they're more frustrating than the Phillies half the time because they don't have they bring up people as outfielders and as shortstops, and they change them to outfielders. Half their team is outfielders. So I'm like, okay, great. You bring in Castellanos, you bring him from one team of mine misery to another team.
Correct.
And
right. Lucky you, Kev.
And Day Game was talking to me today, and he's like, well, what if they put him at a DH, and Castellanos can play DH and lose his fielding negative value. I'm like, sure, but he's still going to go up there and swing at the pitch that hits the dirt 10 feet outside.
It's almost like you see him coming up to the plate, and you know that the first pitch is just he's swinging at it, and it's going to be in the dirt, or the first junk ball that comes up there that he's going to swing at and not even be close. Helmet's going to fly off of his head as he's swinging or something like that. It's so frustrating, is right. As what they say, what's the hardest thing to do in the world? Hit a baseball.
And he can do it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But other than that, he was
hot. He was hot a couple times there in the playoffs. That not last year, the year before, right?
No, the Atlanta series, he crushed the Braves.
Yeah.
The Atlanta series crushed the Braves. He was the only one in the Mets series that did anything on offense. But now you lose that guy, good riddance. I will be. Whenever that happens, there's a breaking news podcast upcoming. Good riddance. Like, I did a breaking news podcast. I think every winter there's like one or two breaking news podcasts that I do because I have nothing else to talk about.
Sure.
Like, I haven't done a podcast.
You have something to do.
I have nothing else to do. I have the podcast. Well, I got into a bad rabbit hole in December. It was a week before Christmas, and the Phillies made a move every single day of that week. And at like Tuesday onward. But on Monday, because I hadn't done a podcast in a while, I saw the move that Jordan Romano got money and signed somewhere. That awful player got signed. I'm going to refrain from other words that I can use to describe him.
Good idea.
If you want to hear me rant, go 7 minutes of me ranting about Jordan Romano. But anyway, he goes to the Angels. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll do a breaking news podcast. Little did I know that was going to be the week we trade Matt Strahm away. We sign Brad Keller, and we bring in Adolis Garcia all in a 4-day span. I'm like,
it's a busy week.
Now I'm like, podcast. I'm like, I didn't really need to do the Romano podcast because here are 4 other breaking news podcasts to get out here. And
that Romano one was a disaster last year.
Romano and the bullpen this year is going to be an insane, like the way Thompson likes talking, and he likes to say how 25% of the roster's different, so technically we're not running it back.
Yeah, I heard that one.
For all the fans out there watching, it does feel like you run back the same team.
Because what you change the most is your relievers. That's the biggest change in there.
Now, the relievers, the changes in there are very large. They're very important changes. You have a full year of Duran, which we need to set certain expectations with Duran that most regular fans don't understand. He's a guy, his whole career, and Caleb will get mad at me if I get this wrong, so I'm going to hopefully get this right. He teeters in between of an unbelievable pitcher and a just very good pitcher. So he's right on that line. He's not the unbelievable lockdown closer that we saw at the end of last year, normally. He can be. He can hit that mark. He has very good numbers in general, and maybe he's turning around the corner, but he is not a Brad Lidge, so to speak. From
54 or 54. You're not going to get many. You're never going to get that again.
But he might not put up, he's going to put up probably a 2.5 ERA compared to what he did at the end of last year, like a 1.5. He was unbelievable at the end of last year.
It was interesting with him because I thought when we first got him, he was lights out. Like lights out for the first month or whatever amount of time we had him. And then it's ended up at the end, I thought it was more of like he was throwing fast, but he was throwing it right over the plate and they were hitting it. So I almost, when I saw him, I was like, so we got a closer now. This is great. And it was great going to see him, being there and seeing
I haven't seen it.
The graphics there with the spider. It was awesome. It was really cool. But I thought he started off really hot, but then he ended up at the end of last year. I thought it was more of he throws very fast, but it's right over the plate. And if you're timed up on it, you're going to be able to hit it. And I thought that's what hurt him last year. But I think having a full year of him, having a full year of a closer like that is going to just be awesome for the Phillies. Also getting, what's his name back from the drug suspension, that knucklehead, and having him back. There's 2.
Alvarado.
Having Alvarado back. I mean, those 2 right there makes the bullpen that much stronger.
Alvarado, I need to see him do it before I can trust him to do it because I've watched him.
Or was it the steroids, right? Was he any good because of the steroids?
Yeah, I think I've watched him. I watched him have one unbelievable season, and then I've also watched him he comes out there and like, well, this pitch is going to either be in the guy's head or down on the field, or maybe it's in the dugout.
Right.
Who knows?
Right, could be any of the three.
Right down the middle. Who knows? Have a great time. Jose Alvarado, guys. Welcome to the game.
That's the truth. You never knew what you were getting there. But there was a period of time, like when he's hot, and you give you those few weeks in a row of really just like getting anybody and everybody out. But then out of nowhere, where's go? Like the confidence just gets shot.
He's a towering human being.
Yeah, he's huge.
Like to stand on the mound. Now, the problem with the Phillies a few years ago when he was having those throw this, that, the other way type appearances, you had three other guys in the bullpen that were also
doing the same
this,
thing.
that, the other way.
Yep.
Gregory Soto and Craig Kimbrell to
Yep.
be
Oh
exact.
yeah, I remember.
You've got three of those, and those are your back end relievers. So from what we've gone from my whole life of watching the Phillies. Really, when I started really paying attention was in 2020, that shortened season. And I've gone through almost every iteration of how bad your bullpen can get until it's so bad that you're going to fall apart by that point. So you think about it like this. You've got the 2020 disaster with Brandon Workman and Heath Hembry were your top guys in that bullpen. I think the next year you went to Ian Kennedy, who was so terrible. I'm like, does this guy not know what 91-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle? It's at the only pitch that he knows, because I don't think so. Right down the middle. Every time, and you knew he's coming as a closer. Like, this isn't going to end well.
Right.
This isn't going to end well. And
Anybody in the majors
well.
can hit a 91-mile fastball.
Oh, God, I always remember seeing that little tiny white 91 right down
The
the
whole
middle.
time.
The whole time, like, you can't throw any faster than that, Ian Kennedy. I will always remember his name. Always in my
I've
life.
already forgotten his name, Kev.
Yeah, then you've got guys like, then we went through the time where, okay, these guys didn't even make it through the season. Juris Familia we got rid of in the middle of the year because he was a wild disaster. Then we thought, okay, let's bring in Craig Kimbrell. Like, that's going to do anything.
The man bun.
Purposely balking guys to the next base because he doesn't like having the
Somebody
dummy
on
runner.
first base. Like,
the dummy runner on second base. He didn't like that in the extra innings, so he would move the guy over on purpose and then allow a base hit. I'm like, you have got to be like, these are the guys we're working with. So yes, in that term of Duran is such a massive upgrade from Jimmy, John, and Joe out there in the bullpen.
Tom, Dick, and Harry, I used to call him.
Yeah, I just thought of three random names as I was going about it. And now they bring in this other guy that pretty much on the Phillies, nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows who Brad Keller is.
Yep.
Unless you watched a little bit of Cubs
Chicago,
baseball.
right? In Chicago.
Yeah, a little bit of Cubs baseball, or you watched the World Baseball Classic. He pitched in that. I think he pitched in that back when they had it last.
Yep.
Or you were a fantasy person and you followed fantasy baseball. Because like I follow fantasy baseball, as everybody knows. Me and Caleb have our fantasy teams. And I don't think I ever used Brad Keller, but that's kind of where you would use this guy's name.
But he's definitely an upgrade from what we had before. So just those names alone, Duran, Keller, and Alvarado, who we didn't have all of last year, those three right there, great. Like, that's great. Kirkering just got hurt. You hear about his hamstring? He just hurt his hamstring.
Really?
I heard it on the ride in coming in today.
I did not see that.
So you never know what's going on with that. And you got his mental stability after what happened last year.
I'm hoping and banking on him doing decent, but the Phillies' problem is not, again, they won 96 games.
Yep.
They are a slowly improving team over the last few years in the regular season and a slowly declining team in the postseason, which is not great.
Not what we're looking for, Kev.
But because at this point, if you want to continue the slow decline of every year getting worse in the playoffs, this year would mean you miss the playoffs. So if you don't miss the playoffs, then technically you're just going to stand pat.
Stable. You're stable from last year.
You're stable at getting to the first round and losing.
Yep.
So, whatever for that point. But the bullpen, like Kirkering, of all the guys with the lowest whip on the team, which is one of the major pitching stats to look at, the new guy, Brad Keller, had the best one of all of them.
0.96.
Yeah, he was really, really good last year. And yes, that wasn't for anyone who looks deeper into his stats. It was a little bit of an outlier year, but it's his first year being good at that. He used to be a starter.
Yep.
And they turned him into a reliever, and he's been really good at that reliever role. He's probably a back end of the bullpen guy, right-handed pitcher. But now with that Kirkering injury, as you just said,
hamstrings sometimes last a little longer too, so you don't want to rush him back and then hurt the hamstring again. So you got to make sure it's only. I mean, we're talking February right now, Kev. So it's not even like you're in the middle of March or end of March.
You definitely wanted to see him pitch in spring training, though, because you want to
get his mental game back to after what we last saw.
the throw going over the head of the catcher.
Not what we want to see.
Not the last Kirkering memory I want in my head. And I want to see him pitch in spring training. And they don't have pitching depth. That's one of their massive problems on this team. That again, people don't realize that. Yes, okay, the Bo Bichette thing was really depressing, and how that we
knew nothing about that. Nobody thought he was on nobody thought we were going out to sign a big name contract like that. But I think we were just kind of used and abused there as Philadelphia. Yeah. I don't think there was ever really a plan for him. Thinking that's just my opinion. I don't know, and I think when the Phillies were like, yeah, maybe we can get him for a steal. We'll jump into the trade. We'll jump in here, and they weren't ever anywhere close. Somebody was always going to beat them in the money, I thought.
Yeah, I kind of had that same look after the initial frustration, because like it started to come together and you're like, okay, this could really happen here. And then after the initial frustration of not only losing him, but him going to the Mets of all teams.
How about it?
Like, and I got that news. I was actually sitting here working on something, and Mr. Duncan's in the other room, and he goes, Kev, I don't know if this is real, but this isn't good. And I'm like, what is it? He goes, Bichette signed with the Mets. And I just went like that. I'm like, put my head in my hands like, why can't we have nice things? Like, no nice things. Not allowed. But you kind of knew that wasn't going to happen. You didn't think about any of these big moves coming down the line for the Phillies. But
you thought more. I thought it was more of maybe bring in some young guys and get rid of Casti and Bohm. Boom. That's what I really thought the bet last year going into this year was. Now we're talking a little bit about the young kids coming in, but we still have Casti and we still have Bohm on the team.
So like Casti's going, so that's good. 2 years ago it was get rid of Castellanos and get rid of Taijuan Walker, and Walker's now going to have to be in the rotation because you have nobody else. And Walker wasn't terrible last year.
Correct.
In the bullpen as people.
This is our last year with him.
Yes.
This isn't last year. And same thing with Casti, not that he's going to be in it, but
not that he's going to be
he's still here until he's...
Bohm is gone after this year as well.
Okay.
So that's why I still believe, and I can't get... You also, if you're going... These kids, they're not young kids anymore, Bohm and Stott. Like, they're probably the guys that they're going to be. But with Alec Bohm, I've always seen this is what I would do. Because you've now talked him down so much this offseason, so you've killed any value of getting him out now.
Yep.
But if you are at the point where Aiden Miller's in the minor leagues, playing third base in AAA and playing it well, you shouldn't, and you have a guy in Alec Bohm who's going to be a free agent that, from the way you talk about him, you've got zero intention of re-signing him,
right?
If he's playing well, then, and you're winning, you trade him away for prospects, you might be able to get a few prospects back for him or something, because there's going to be a team at the deadline that's looking for corner infield help and wants some hitters.
I would love that, Kev. All I would say is that I think for the last 2 years, they've thought the same thing with him. I thought, wasn't it 2 years ago that he had that mental breakdown of saying, I hate playing in this place?
One, and then the year, and then not this year, but last year was the year where was it last year? No, the Mets series in the playoffs is when they benched him for throwing his helmet down.
He's got bad attitude. You can see when things aren't going well, he really wears it. It's very emotional, wears it on his sleeve, so to speak. And that's in baseball. You got to forget what just happened because the next thing's coming at you right away. So I don't know what you could get for him either.
I just wonder if he's batting wherever he was last year. He was at 287. He's 287 with 740. It's not a great OPS, but he's batting 287, almost 290 by middle of the season. You know, he's getting on base. He's getting the hits and the weird hits that he hits the balls that are like nowhere close to the zone half the time. But he's getting those opposite field hits. That's a guy some team that's pushing is on the verge might want. And but this also depends on if you got Aiden Miller down there in the minor leagues and he's rising. I do not want to hold a guy that you're not even going to have on the team next year over top of this young kid that's on the up and up. The same goes for Bryson Stott. Stott has another year after this one. He's got 2 more. I feel like a lot of people are the false believers in Alec Bohm, and I seem to be the false believer in Bryson Stott all the time because I feel like he's gonna turn it around at some point, and it just doesn't do it. And end of last year, he did.
2 years ago, wasn't it the playoff series where he was up to bat and he had like 14 pitches? He kept failing off and everybody fell in love with him again. Oh my God, he's awesome. And then last year he just kind of went down again and he was all over the board in regards to having good weeks, bad weeks, good days, bad days. Yeah. He's a younger guy that if we have another year after, he's got to decide whether he's going to stay on this team or not by playing well, you would think right now. He's not somebody that he's ingrained there. Like, he's got to continue to get better. If not, we're just looking at a hole at second base too.
Yeah, the issue is it's a hole in second base in the batting category. The fielding category is one of the best in baseball.
It's great to see him with. Yep.
So he's one of the best second basemen in baseball. Why he does not have a Gold Glove and Nico Horner keeps winning them, I do not know. But Nico Horner keeps winning Gold Gloves, and I can't control that. So Bryson Stott has been sentenced out of not getting any Gold Gloves, and he definitely deserves it. Those plays he makes jumping for them, he's in like back of right field. Even when the shift used to be a thing, he still showed his.
It looks smooth out there.
Still potential. He's fun to watch.
That's not his game you're worried about in regards to him as a player. It's not his glove. It's definitely the other hitting aspect of it.
He's done a good job also in his career not letting the bad hitting get to him in the field.
In the field, absolutely.
Which is something you don't see very often from players, especially you see when Alec Boehm goes through his bad stretches, there's the defense starts to go down as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can see that's a good point in regards to the two different players. Now, he doesn't wear it on his sleeve as much as Boehm does, Stott, so that's a huge thing, because when you're out there and it's miserableness and you're out there in the field thinking about your at-bat right then that you just blew, now you're trying to play the field and it's still in your head. You're gonna boot that next ball. You know what I mean? So he's got to get less emotional, but he's got to be a better player.
So when going back like before, other than a little bit out of baseball, out of the Phillies exactly. Did you ever play baseball? Were you a baseball player?
Our family all played. That was the one sport. Well, that was the one sport we all played. Johnny X played at Penn State Ogons. Uncle Matt played at Spring Garden. I think your brother your dad Marty played at even Montgomery County Community College for the year that he was there. We all played in high school. I remember I played sophomore, junior, and senior year. Those the other guys all played all 4 years. But that was the one sport we all played growing up in our house. And baseball.
What position?
I was first base.
You have a funny baseball story?
I still get my people make fun of me when I graduated high school and they have that banquet for baseball players. I think Mr. The award for me was Mr. Utility and like most improved. So I thought that, well, look at me. And I would tell my friends, they're like, so you weren't good enough to have one position and they just kept moving you around. So I still have friends from college that make fun of me, call me Mr. Utility. So yeah. But that's just a sport. It was easy to play. You didn't need a lot of money growing up to play baseball. You just needed a ball and a bat and a glove. So that was one. That and basketball is what we all played growing up.
Were you particular? Did you were you good? Do you?
I was okay. I wasn't the best player. I mean, no, I was okay. I wasn't the 10th. I was one of the 9 people that should be on the field. Just put it that way.
Okay.
And I'll take that.
That's good. Would you like in the case of like Bryson Stott and Alec Boehm? Do you like? I feel like you can take it from the point of view, understand where they're coming from in a little bit. If you struggle at the plate, try to not take it in the field.
It's not easy. I mean, I look at it as being a parent right now. You have to like do the same type of things. Like
coaching, if you coach.
Yep. I coached all my kids basketball growing up. My daughter through grade school, high school. She played in college. My son, Patrick. Out of my 3 kids, my middle child, I couldn't coach because he didn't want to listen to me or wouldn't take any direction. So I stopped coaching him. But then my youngest, I coached up through. He played basketball through high school, and I helped out on the other teams. But my middle child did not want to hear me or give any advice on coaching. So I stopped coaching my middle child, Patrick, because he wasn't very receptive to my coaching. And then I stopped coaching my youngest child because I just couldn't handle boys basketball and girls basketball. Boys sports and girls sports, the way they act are completely and totally different. Girls, through my experience in coaching them, great, I'll do it. I'll work hard at it. Boys, rolling your eyes, walking away from you, this, that, and I just couldn't stand that. So I enjoyed coaching girls a lot more better than I coached boys.
That's an interesting.
Yep.
There's a point. Even the same like watching. Dad always coached softball.
Yep.
For Lori, and I know Uncle Johnny X coached softball. Like a lot of like softball and baseball, same type of deal. And you get that like from someone's perspective. You get this coaching perspective, and you put it into. Or even in any sport, you get like, what is the coach of the team, for this sake, Rob Thompson, have to think about all the time? And he gets destroyed a lot.
All the time.
Rob Thompson gets destroyed a lot, and he's here. He is here for the next 2 years because of the extra.
They just re-signed him, right?
Yeah, they gave him an extra bonus so he wouldn't just be, sitting there.
Yep. A lame duck coach, so to speak, you call him, right?
Yeah, lame duck
He
coach.
always seems to get roasted for his pitching changes, right? And then that and sticking with players a lot longer and giving them a longer leash, so to speak, instead of benching them or something like that. So I in baseball, what's your opinion on managers, Kev? How much of an impact do you think they have?
So I do not like Rob Thompson's pitching decisions. His pitching decisions annoy me a lot, and I think there's 2 reasons for that. I think number 1, he does not understand that a pitcher can pitch more than 1 day in a row. It's possible. It's allowed. That's what's allowed in the bullpen. I was just listening to old audio bits of myself talking, and I found a rant that my grandfather did about that he put Romano in for a second inning in a bullpen game that they were doing while they had Kerkering in the bullpen. They wouldn't use him because he said after the game something along the lines of the quote of I just used him yesterday, so I didn't feel like using him today. Yep. But we're in extra innings and the game is tied. Yep. Why is he not in the game? So those type of things annoy me because he gets so stuck in his ways. That and the management of the lineup with the lefty-righty thing just
drives you nuts.
Drives me insane. Like, no one ever said it's not in a rule book that you must go left, right, all the way down the lineup. If player A is better than player B, then player A should be batting there. Despise if they're both if they're one's right, one's left. It does not matter that much.
Well, let me ask you something on that point then, Kev. Our superstar says he wants to bat in a certain spot. But as a manager, and you're Kevin, Kev, you're a smart man, where he should bat sometimes. How do you approach something like that? How do you approach something like that when your superstar, I want to bat second, or I'll do anything for the team, but I need to bat third. So what do you do with something like that?
Yeah, so my lineup issues normally don't come from the top of the lineup. I normally have more problems with the younger players that are not as like, I'm going to tell you where I want to bat and I'm going to play there or I'm not going to play, like that type of stuff. Then you do what you want at the top. The top is going to be this weird lineup construction. Turner's going to bat first. Schwarber and Harper are going to bat second and third, and it doesn't make sense.
And now you can stop, Kev, because then what the heck goes on from 4 through 9?
No idea.
Yep. Nothing.
I have no idea.
At all.
With this team, I don't know what I'm getting from Alec Boehm at the plate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm getting from Bryson Stott at the plate, who batted leadoff a decent amount this year when Turner went to bat second.
Yep.
Not saying Castellanos was great, but he did have a threat to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Yep.
Garcia hopefully can get back to the number he was at before. He's had up and down years.
So Garcia last year had 19 home runs and Casti had 17. So right there, it's an upgrade by 2 home runs, right?
Yes, it's upgrade by 2 home runs. Garcia has potential to get 25.
Yep.
He is
from 2 or 3 years ago, I think, is when he was last had one of those.
Yeah, he's got one of and I think he'll bode great in this Phillies ballpark. He's one of the most entertaining guys. Like, there's some guys that hit home runs and that ball is
bombed,
gone. Like,
right? He hits it.
He hits it. He
violently hits it.
He hits it. He looks at it.
Yep.
He throws the bat in the air. He's got one of the best. Like, if you want some entertainment before the regular season starts, go watch Adolis Garcia hitting home runs because he swings and he stops. Like, he'll hold the bat in the air at it. He'll drop the bat down. And I'm reenacting this right now while I'm talking. But
we're not on camera.
No camera here. But it's just like, that's annoying. In the end, you don't know what you're getting. Again, he's a better upgrade. Brandon Marsh is so annoying.
Well, wait a minute. If you look at Brandon Marsh, so at the beginning of the last year, He had two bad months, right? And then when he came back, I thought if you took the 2 months out of it, he had a really good rest of the year. Am I wrong on that?
You're not wrong, but what they did the final 2 months of this year was they stopped playing him against lefties.
Yep.
The problem is you have a guy out there who literally cannot play against left-handed pitching.
Yep.
He cannot hit. If you want an actual number of what exactly his numbers are versus lefties, a 576 OPS, which is really, really bad. Put it in perspective, like Castellanos with a 694, and we thought that was bad.
Yep.
So look at that, 576. He can't do a darn thing against lefties, but righties, he's almost at 900 OPS, which is like on the level of an Acuna or like a high, like.
So you're looking at platoon.
That's on a level of Bryce Harper with it, that type of OPS. So you're looking at against righties, he's a Bryce Harper type hitter, but against lefties, he's worse than Castellanos and around Mendoza line type hit.
Yep, I'm with you there. So he's a platoon guy. That's what you're looking at for him. You don't even want him coming up against left-hand pitchers.
No, so he's the platoon guy, which then puts you in this weird spot with the outfield that we've talked about all the time with the way this Phillies outfield is created. You've got Garcia, who's going to play every day in right field, whether you like it or not. And by the middle of the year, everyone might say, oh, we don't like this at all.
Right, but you're going to give him at least half of the year.
But we're going to give him at least half the year until it all comes crashing down if we have to. Maybe he'll be back to MVP level Garcia. Like, he didn't win MVP, but World Series MVP, high-level Garcia play, which it's about time for the Phillies to hit on one of these outfielders that they sign. So, like, he's out there. Then you have center field,
Crawford,
which is going to be Crawford. And it's a little different so it's going to be Crawford, and Crawford has a very good batting average in minor leagues, very high ground ball rate. He's very fast. Again, for the young guy, I need to see it to believe it. I want him there. I'm not like,
it's time for him.
I'm not opposed to bringing him up. I am also not putting him on a short leash. He's going to come out.
Give him a chance to get his bumps and bruises.
Give him a chance to get
every
going.
level he's improved. Every level he's gone to, he's gotten better at that level.
Yeah. He's going to be a fun player to watch. And I tell you this, Phillies, this is a service announcement directly to you. Do not let Johan Rojas see the field this year. No, I don't care if he's batting .340 in the minor leagues. He can't do it in the major leagues, and he can't field. Give it up. No. Bye-bye. No more Johan Rojas.
He's the last man on the bench. He's a sub-4 running, and he's a defensive replacement in the late innings. That's exactly what I see him as. He's not somebody you want him at all times. Put him when we get to extra innings, throw him on second base and make sure he's the sub-runner so you can get him home or something like that. Have him subbing in for playing defense in the 7th and 8th inning. But I agree with you. I don't need him. Learn to bunt. Learn to bunt.
Oh, my God. But even if he's coming in, like you said, defensive replacement, he's not smart in the outfield. There are a lot of plays last year when minimal time that he's in the outfield that I come on the podcast after being like, well, the game would have been a lot easier to win if you didn't throw the ball in the infield to nobody.
Yeah.
I don't know where you were objecting the
Casty used to do that.
They all used to do that. The outfield for the Phillies last year was not good.
Hit the cutoff man, Kev. Hit the cutoff man.
It's not that difficult. It's really, like, I understand. I'm like, I'm not going to go out there and play the outfield, but you're playing Major League Baseball. You're getting paid a lot of money.
Yep.
It's not that hard to hit a cutoff man.
Right.
Really,
it's part of your job description.
Part of the job description is hit cutoff man. Right there. Sealed right on the label.
When you sign this contract, you need to make sure you understand to hit the cutoff man.
Oh, my goodness. So, like, he's out there, and you have the extra help there, and then of course we bring back our catcher.
So
opinions
obviously
on the catcher?
They pivoted to him when we lost out on the Bichette, right? That was the big deal, and they threw money at him. The contract obviously scares you. Yeah. I just remember last year having a conversation with somebody about him, and the person brought up to me, well, did you hear what Zach Wheeler said? I'm like, no, what do you mean? And I'm paraphrasing here. It's like Zach Wheeler was being interviewed. And the guy goes, what? The guy asked him a question to the point of like, hey, so what's your prep like for the game? You go, was you a right-handed or a left-handed hitter? And they're like, what else? And he's like, I don't know. JT tells me what to throw, and I throw it. And they go, and so it made you think, like, wait a minute, this guy's one of the best 3 pitchers in the league. Yeah. Would you not bring back a catcher to keep him to be the best 3 pitchers in the league? Why not just have him there? So I think his value is so much more to the pitching staff. It can handle it, but is it worth the 3 years and the amount of money we're paying for him?
I like to hear that you're on the same wavelength as I am with the JT.
I like him. I think JT's going to be a Hall of Famer. I really do think. It's just
probably
that as a catcher, there's so your window of being able to do it for so many years is so small as compared to everybody else. And then you look at it, okay, well, let's change him to a first baseman, or let's change him to a DH. It's not like
there's a ton of Hall of Fame catchers out there.
There's not.
He's been doing it for a while. He's been known as one of the better catchers in baseball. I never thought about it that way, but if you really think about it, probably didn't give it 15 years from now, or whatever we're down that line, or 5-10 years from now.
These next 3 years could say a lot for him. I mean, if he is really 200 batter and not playing much, hurt all the time, I think that obviously hurts his legacy and his chances. But if he gives you 3 productive years of being another 10 to 15 home runs, batting 250 plus, and being able to be the catcher that the pitchers love to throw to, he could really justify a Hall of Fame invite.
Yeah, and he has a cycle for the Phillies at this point.
He
hit one of those. He
steals bases. He's a catcher that steals bases. How do you see that?
He's now, other than when the inevitable bad JT stretch comes,
it comes every year.
Every year, where no matter what, he's on base, runner on first base, double play.
Yep.
Every single at bat for about 2.5 weeks is double play, double play, double play, double play. But people also forget with Real Muto, which I knew whenever he signed with the Phillies, because I thought in the end, no matter what they did, he was going to come back in some way, and we were going to have to kind of talk ourselves into the thing.
Thought the same thing.
So I kind of always had myself kind of talked into him. He was one of the best hitters on the team for most of the year last year, after a horrendous, and I mean horrendous, start to the year where he was batting in the high 100s and had to salvage himself all the way back to whatever he finished at, a 669 or 699 OPS, and I think he probably finished around 270 batting average for JT Realmuto. And if you're getting that from your catcher, you're getting, as we know, Wheeler doesn't like pitching with anyone else. That's not Realmuto. Wheeler's probably done after 27, that's kind of what it seems like. That's when he's retiring, most likely. But you also have people like Aaron Nola, who we need to figure out. Luzardo had one of his best seasons of career with Real Muto behind the plate this year. And, it's good to have, especially coming up with a young player like Andrew Painter coming up.
So the Painter should be interesting to see what he does, because he did not have a good year last year. So if you have a bad year, how do you get promoted? That doesn't make sense, but if they need him, they need him. And now maybe because last year could have just been an anomaly, and he's really they know he has the stuff. But
well, I guess the anomaly, they're thinking he's returning from injury, he struggled, and then they're probably
just never got on track.
They might not be taking the number that we see of the 5 ERA and the 1.55 WHIP. They might not be taking that number, and they might be looking at some other number of from X dates after said day when he started looking better, or the stuff started coming back. It's going to be vital to see what he looks like in spring training. You can't take whatever numbers someone puts together in spring training as anything. Mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. But what you're looking at, and what I'm going to preface for people that will watch any of these games, what you're looking at is, does he have the stuff that you're looking for? Does he look like he's ready for baseball shape? Normally, spring training, I don't get anything out of watching hitters at all, but watching the pitchers and seeing, okay, how good does his stuff look? Not exactly the performance. How good does he look when there's a runner on base from the stretch, the windup? What does he look like? Because that's probably, in a reliever sense, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah. So the pitching is always usually faster than the hitting in spring training, right? Isn't that that works? Yeah. So they always come out sharper, like you said. And the hitters, I was listening to Ricky Batalico on the radio, and how he used to go into spring training. He's like, those numbers mean nothing. The hitting batters mean nothing. I'm going in there to work on something specific when I'm pitching for this one inning, and I'm trying to throw this strike here, and that's when he goes in there. So if they hit it, they hit it. If I give up as many runs, whatever, he goes. But at a certain point, that light goes off on him. And like he told the story this week of he walked into the dugout, walked into the dugout or something, and the manager at the time looked at him and goes, "Oh, the light went on for you?" And just by looking at him, he's like, "Yep, I'm ready." And like there's something that clicks on these guys sometimes. It's such a long season that it just clicks. And spring training, just get yourself in shape and get ready for the year.
And give people something fun relaxing to watch that doesn't matter at all.
Right.
And you get some of the best like audio broadcaster moments.
Oh my gosh, when you can hear them talking in the field sometimes when they're like they're mic'd up.
Yeah.
We're actually going down to spring training in a couple of weeks to catch a couple games, so it should be fun. My first time down.
It'll be interesting to follow, and now I've kind of found myself a good little segue, and I can read finally some of these free agent moves that happened because it's been a little bit. There's a lot of names on here. I don't expect everyone to know all of these names, but we've been going over every big move that's happened on every single one of these episodes. And as last episode, we spent 35 minutes just talking about free agent moves. So for this one, some names, if you know them, we'll talk about them. So like Carlos Santana, I think we know, he played for the Phillies at one point.
Oh my gosh, how many points, how long ago was that?
That was when they brought him up and they had him here on a 1-year contract or whatever, and they brought Hoskins up, and they forced Hoskins to go play left field because Santana was the free agent taking up first base.
Yep.
That's what I don't want to happen with Alec Boehm and Aiden Miller.
Yep.
You want to bring him up, so outfield.
Right.
Like,
throw him there. He's fine there.
At least Aiden Miller's way more athletic than Rhys Hoskins ever will be. And
I don't think Rhys Hoskins even signed, right?
No,
I don't think he's anywhere right now.
He's still out there, which again, he's a streaky guy that if he goes, he can go on a team and be.
Where are you going to put him?
Some helpful on
some
first
team.
base,
I don't think
not
for us.
Not for us.
Doesn't make sense for the Phils.
Not at all. But I mean, like he can go to a team like I don't know, and the A's don't have a fit. I always think about the A's, but like some other team, the Angels maybe, or some team that has a little bit of a first base hole, or he seems like a guy that might sign like spring training. You got a first baseman injury.
Yep.
He's the first in line up and not great player, but a okay player that is streaky and could maybe help you win a few games.
Down
the line. So he's definitely a guy that could get signed and probably will get signed. I think he will be on.
I think he'll play baseball this year. I agree with you.
Yeah. Miguel Andujar, that's a me note for the Padres. I forget what position he plays, but he's going to the Padres.
Of course, it's the Padres, Kev's favorite team.
I know. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa goes to the Red Sox. This was big in the news with him going to the Red Sox because jumping ahead, the Red Sox traded for a third baseman now that they lost Alex Bregman. They traded for Caleb Durbin from the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yep.
So now they've got Kiner-Falefa, who's really been around the block. He played for the Yankees, the Blue Jays. Just off the top of my head, he played for Pittsburgh for a little bit, and now he's on the Red Sox. So he's trying for all the teams, I guess, in the American League East. He's done the Red Sox, the Yankees. This again, off the top of my head, the Blue Jays, and he hasn't. I don't think he did the Rays yet, and I'm forgetting. And Baltimore, he hasn't done Baltimore, so he needs two more off of his little chart there.
The AL East.
Yeah, the big move, I think the biggest move on here is Framber Valdez finally signed a contract.
Tigers. Yep.
As we know, we talked about him before. His market was supposed to be so much higher than it was, all because of some a play in the middle of last year when he purposely threw at his catcher and hit the purposely crossed up his catcher on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball and hit him on the inside, and then like he would make his. Some players make like a hype video to send to teams to like.
Yep. Oh yeah.
His video was, "I am a good guy."
I didn't know that, Kev.
Yes, so
that's a great tidbit behind the scenes.
His video is his video that he gave to teams, like explaining how he's a good person. Like,
I can't pitch, but I'm a great guy.
Yes, I'm definitely did not mean to throw 97 at my catcher's ribs. Definitely didn't mean to do that. And like, if you watch the tape back, you're like, oh, he like made a mistake. No, he doesn't even like look at the catcher. He looks away.
Right at him. Right. I got to relook at that video.
It was
again.
Completely on purpose. You just look up Valdez throwing at catcher, and it'll come up there. But he's still got a pretty decent contract. 3 years, $115 million. He's a very good, even though like that moment happened and he kind of struggled a little bit after that, he's still an unbelievable pitcher. And he annoyed us when we played
$38 million a year.
Yeah, he's a very good pitcher. He then goes, he's not going to be the ace of that staff because Tariq Skubal's on that staff. So
I always thought Skubal was going to get dealt. That was a big rumor. Like that was the Phillies type rumor or pie in the sky type thing.
Yeah, well, I think if he went anywhere, it would sadly have been to the Dodgers. But
Dodgers, how do they keep doing it? I don't know how they keep writing this money off that they're going to pay him in 20 years or whatever they do.
Well,
do you know that Bobby Bonilla? Do you know that?
Yes,
Bobby. It's that seems how they're doing it out there. Is they're paying him the Bobby Bonilla contracts, and they'll pay him. Well, I'll pay you now Tuesday for a hamburger today or whatever like that, right?
Yeah, I don't know Bobby Bonilla Day that happens in the middle of July every year.
So you see it on ESPN. It gets his $1.1 million for 25 years in a row on July 1st or whatever it is. Great to be Bobby Bonilla that day.
Yeah, the Dodgers are the big
juggernaut. I mean, they keep spending. It was the Yankees back in the day that the Yankees, like, okay, we have the money, we're going to spend it, and they didn't care about this quote unquote salary cap or any kind of taxes they got on it. And that's what the Dodgers are doing.
Like you think about it with the Dodgers' sake, last year as I've just talked about, people forget. Okay, they won the World Series. They were dominant in the playoffs. We all know that. We ran into the buzzsaw of the Dodgers also, but we probably played them one of the closest teams other than the Blue Jays. But the Dodgers did not buzzsaw the rest of the league the whole year.
Well,
they
were
only
injured.
won the division.
They were injured a lot.
And they have a terrible bullpen. They had one of the worst bullpens in baseball, and I was witness of one time when the bullpen destroyed them. We went down to a Baltimore Orioles game when it was Yamamoto pitched a no-hitter up until 2 outs in the 9th inning, allows a solo home run, and then they lose the game 4-3 with 2 outs in the 9th inning, and they lose the game 4-3, and that's because they brought in two relievers I think 2 or 3 relievers in a row who could not get the ball over the plate, and when they did, it was over the middle of the plate.
But then the Dodgers made a reliever last year in the playoffs, right? And that's really what solved a lot of their problems.
So the playoffs, they didn't have to use the relievers because they have so much starting pitching depth that they just moved those relievers into the bullpen. So you have Emmett Sheehan is a starting pitcher. He was moved into the bullpen. You had Glasnow was starting games but still coming out of the pen. You had Yamamoto's throwing complete games back to back to back. Like, it was insane. And you have Roki Sasaki, who you brought in either this year or last year, whatever year you brought him in. I think it was last year. Brought him in to be a starter. That didn't work. At the end of the year, like, oh, we need a closer. Let's just move somehow miraculously one of the big guys signed to a massive contract. Let's move him to the bullpen, see what happens.
Why not?
Lockdown closer all of a sudden.
When you're making all that, when you pay him that much money and you have that much money to spend, why not try this?
So there are 2 holes. Now, the Dodgers even had holes. The 2 holes that they had going into the offseason was bullpen and another outfielder because Pages was so bad. So what do? You sign Kyle Tucker and you bring in Edwin Diaz.
How about it?
The best outfielder and the best reliever in the market.
Like, the rich keep getting richer.
And I will say this, I don't think that solves the bullpen problem for the Dodgers. That's still a massive issue for the Dodgers. They
got 162 games to figure it out. I think they'll be fine.
I would be dumb to tell you if I didn't think they would win the division. I think they probably will. The Padres will be on their tail yet again, barring the addition of Nick Castellanos. But they will definitely be right on their tail again. They won 96 and the Padres won 93. There was this point in September last year where we were
not sure who was going to win that division.
Almost sure. Not who was going to win the division, and a chance the Dodgers were going to be the 3rd wild card team.
I remember.
The Brewers were abundantly better than them during the regular season.
They won more games. They were
97 or whatever. They were up there. So that's an interesting thing for the Dodgers. Jose Urquidy, I think that's how you say his name, to the Pirates. He's a former Astros pitcher. He pitched against us in the combined no-hitter, I think, in the World Series when we got no hit. So he goes to the Pirates. More pitching depth to the Pirates. The Pirates are going to be interesting. There's some more Pirates moves on this list. Brent Suter goes to the Angels. Angels are dumpster fire of an organization.
Have been for years.
They have Jordan Romano, so that means they're going nowhere. Blaze Alexander, former Arizona Diamondback, who's just anyone on the Diamondbacks seems to be this annoying name that comes up every once in a while. So I recognize him just from the sole fact
playing
that
against
he's annoying when we go down there. He goes to the Orioles. It's actually a trade for 3 guys that I'm not even going to try to say their names or understand who they are. So that's that. Paul Goldschmidt, MVP player, first baseman, one of the better first basemen to play the game, honestly, for St. Louis. Returns to the Yankees on a cheap contract. He was pretty good last year. Surprised he didn't get signed right away. And then the Yankees were like, well, you're not going to get signed. We'll take you back.
Right, why not?
Why not? The Yankees actually, I don't think, have added an outside free agent. They've just re-signed everybody.
Oh, that's what it was.
That they've had so far. Scott Barlow, pretty terrible pitcher, goes to the A's for depth. I know him a little bit. MJ Melendez to the Mets. I think that's an outfielder. Another name for the Mets. The name that I think most people know here is Marcell Ozuna. Goes to Pittsburgh. And as Caleb wanted me to say, preferencing to everybody that Marcell Ozuna had a poor year last year. Like, I can't say that he's an unbelievable hitter. He is a very good hitter. Just he had a really bad year last year.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully for the Pirates' sake, and for my sake, for rooting for some type of competition out of Pittsburgh to help Paul Skeens out.
That poor guy.
Yeah, that poor guy has no help. That's why his win-loss record's 10-10 with a 1 ERA.
Yep. Cy Young, and he gets to go home to Livy Dunn.
Yes. So Marcell Ozuna goes to the Pittsburgh Pirates, 1 year, $12 million. He also, please, God, he's gone. He's the 280 average against the Phillies. He crushes us every time.
For Braves, right?
Yeah, when he was playing against us, he never left the NL East. He was with the Marlins, and then he went to the Braves, and this guy just destroyed us for years.
They're like kicking the crap out of the Phils.
Chris Paddock to the Marlins. He's a pretty decent pitcher. Don't know why any player would choose to voluntarily go to the Marlins.
Taxes.
Yeah. Nick Martinez goes to the Rays. If you're going to pick a team to go to down in Florida,
why not Tampa Bay? Right, you're not playing in front of anybody, but either Rays or the Marlins. Right?
Yeah, but the Rays are a team that has had hope in the past, and at least you get to watch the Rays, or you get to play against some other good teams.
Right, Yanks
and the Red Sox and the Blue Jays and all that stuff, and they'll sneakily become somewhat decent. That's normally how they are.
Yeah, with a low payroll too. That's one of the ones they know how to do it.
Yeah, White Sox are another team that's had a decent offseason so far. Randomly, they signed that big-time free agent third baseman from Japan. Murakami went to the White Sox. They've had some other random pitchers and some infielders, and they're not great, but you can't get any really much worse than you did last year.
Right.
So
can't fall off the floor. Somebody used to tell me, like, if you can't, you're already that low, you can't fall off the floor. Why not try?
Yeah, they were unbelievably bad last year. You got Aaron Savali goes to the A's, another terrible pitcher, but adept because they need it. Saguno, former Japanese player from Baltimore,
to Colorado.
Yep. That won't help him at all. He can't pitch anyway. So if you go to Colorado, that's really not going to help that.
Right.
Jonah Heim goes to the Braves. He's a hitter. He's a player. He's going to be annoying. He was annoying when he played for the Rangers against us. He's going to be just as annoying playing for the Braves.
More often.
And yeah, Justin Verlander actually got signed somewhere, which not surprising. He was actually had a really good year last year. Got $13 million and goes back to the Tigers.
Detroit,
back to where he came up. That'll help them. That Detroit rotation will have. Now you got Valdez, you got Verlander, bringing the Astros team back together up there. You've got Skubal, and I don't really know.
Not a bad game. That's not a bad three. I mean, when you throw Skubal in there, that's no matter what. That's a good pitching staff.
That makes everything go up. So
yes, it does.
Then you make the USA World Baseball Classic roster. You got Skubal and Skeens.
So I think it's interesting. I think that hurts their shoulders a little bit playing in that. I do. I mean, it's more stress on the bodies and more throwing pitches. So we'll see how they shake out those people that play on it. Remember, Trey Turner played in there and he had an awesome series with that. And then he comes to the Phils, and then he didn't do very well when he came to the Phils that year.
Yeah,
so
we had to give him a standing ovation
make him feel better.
To make him feel better.
If it works, it works, Kev. I'll stand up and cheer for the guy if he's going to win me a game.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Quintana goes to the Rockies. I think I misspelled that, but that's okay. Jose Quintana goes to the Rockies. Again, pitcher that's struggling goes to the Rockies. Not really helpful.
Not going to help you.
Whatever. Jordan Montgomery, that was a story a few years ago when he didn't get signed at all. He randomly had to go to the Diamondbacks because it was right at the end of, I think it was the labor agreement. They finally barely got it figured out. He got signed. He got injured. He came off of a great year. Went to the Diamondbacks, couldn't get it figured out, was in the minor leagues, back and forth, finally opted out. Now he's back to the team that he did really well with in the first place.
Probably bring back some good memories, let's hope.
We're hoping for that. You're going to pair with Jacob deGrom out there for the Texas Rangers.
Yep.
Evan Phillips will return in July, re-signed with the Dodgers. Very good closer.
He was hurt. Is that what it was? He's
Yeah,
hurt?
he was hurt. Tommy John, he's coming back in July.
Got ya.
And then Gary Sanchez, which I had to add on there. Gary Sanchez, former Yankees catcher, goes to the Brewers.
Okay.
So run down to just some free agent names, different places.
Nothing really that to me that really is like, oh, the Phillies needed that guy. Like nobody there that I'm like, wow.
Valdez, I would have liked.
Sure. Yep. Okay. Out of the names we just went down, Valdez is great for that money though. I don't think you're bringing him to the Phillies on that money for that 3 years, 115. I would have
also loved taking a flyer at Verlander. Probably I'd rather, because again, this team has no pitching depth. So if one
it's
of
time
these
for
guys,
Painter to stand up.
If one of these guys go down early, if you're waiting for Wheeler not till June or something or late May, one of these guys goes down, I don't know who's next.
Yep.
Like if you have to get rid of, like that's why I see Max Scherzer's not signed yet. If someone goes down for the Phillies in spring training, I will bring in a Zach Gallen, Giolito, or Max Scherzer onto this team for depth. Like Giolito is not a good pitcher. He would drive me so crazy.
Right.
But he's out there.
Yep.
Zach Gallen, I can't believe isn't signed
not
yet.
signed yet.
Gallen's a pretty good pitcher.
So what kind of contracts are you looking for? That could be the issue.
He's probably a little bit higher, but at this point, he wants to be on a team.
Yep.
So that market's kind of collapsing in front of you if you're not on a team yet.
Now, with that pitchers and catchers showing up already.
Today, of course, I might not get this out till tomorrow, but Wednesday the 11th is when Phillies pitchers and catchers, so a bunch of baseball reports, anyone who got injured over the offseason, all that stuff is officially coming together, like Corbin Carroll, Lindor, and Jackson Holliday all going down with the same hand bone. And
Kirkring, and like you said, Kirkring just got hurt.
Which again, that could have happened a week ago.
Yep.
But we
just don't know.
We have no idea. We'll know when the timetable comes out.
I think it's interesting when that stuff happens and they show up for spring training and it says, "Oh, he's got to have surgery." Like, what happened 3 months ago when he was sitting around not doing anything? Why not have surgery then? I don't really understand it when they show up for spring training. Now they got to get the surgery. Why didn't you have the surgery in October when your team stopped playing baseball?
You never get announcements that random players getting surgery in the middle of the offseason.
It always seems to be during the season.
Or like this week. You'll probably hear at least 10 more players that come in that need, and they might be minor guys, but most teams will have some guy. This guy's injured. This guy's banged up. This guy's banged up. Like, what did you do?
Yeah. What have you been doing all offseason?
What did you do? Did you run like a 5K or something and blow your leg out? What did you do?
Yeah.
You're Olympic speed walking or something? Alpine skiing, trying to make the Olympic team, and you lost, so now you're back in the AAA system of the Houston Astros. Who knows? I don't know. Be out there, try something new.
Right. Just don't get hurt.
Just don't get hurt.
We need you this year.
Spring training. The one goal is just don't get hurt.
Yep.
The World Baseball Classic, same thing. I'm very excited to watch the World Baseball Classic this year. The USA team is going to be good. You got Aaron Judge on the team. You've got Bobby Witt Jr. on the team. You've got Schwarber's on the team. You've got, of course, Schwarber's on the team. Pitching staff of Nolan McLean, that annoying guy from the Mets from last year. You got Paul Skeens, Tariq Skubal. Unbelievable roster for the USA team. For the Japan team, I'm doing this off the top of my head. Otani, Yamamoto, most of the Japanese players that play in Major League Baseball will all go over there to play.
Team, yeah.
The Dominican team, Lindor, who's not playing because of the issue, but Vlad Guerrero, Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez, I think is on that. Michael Harris, so many great players, Dominican players that are playing in that. And then you got, I think Mexico, Cuba has a good team, and there's a few teams, but it's really going to be U.S., Japan, and Dominican Republic.
When does the World Baseball Classic start?
I think it's on March 6th or 7th.
Okay.
And then it'll go till the 17th is the championship game. And for Phillies podcast, for my podcast, I will be doing USA baseball post-game shows.
Nice.
Because they're entertaining and give something more meaningful to watch. Get to see it, but it's really going to be able to see a USA all-star team. Last time we had the World Baseball Classic, it really wasn't an all-star team because not as many players
not as many of the superstars went
for it.
Yep.
And you had Jeff McNeil starting at second base.
Enough
Jeff
said.
McNeil is not the best USA second baseman.
Yep.
Now you've got Bryce Terang, who batted .313 last year and was the best second baseman in baseball. He's now playing on the second.
Yeah. So now you have like the best players.
Now you've got the best of the best. I don't know if I think Pete Alonso might be doing it too.
I thought so.
I think he probably is, but you get that infield of Alonso, Terang, Bobby Witt Jr., I don't think Nolan Arenado is doing it this year, but another really good third baseman. And you think the Dominican team, you've got Jose Ramirez at third base.
Yep.
So pretty much if you want the best player in baseball, you took all the stars from baseball. Bryce Harper's at first base.
Yep.
So you put the best stars in baseball are now on that team.
Yep.
Playing, and it's going to be very fun for somebody to watch when you're waiting for spring training, waiting for anything to happen.
For meaningful baseball, you get to watch the World Baseball Classic, get you ramped up for the season.
Get you ramped up for the season. That should be fun. I'm very excited to see how it all falls out, and you can see
Where are they playing it at?
I know it's in Houston and Miami are two of the places, and then the other, and then there's
Is it in the USA?
Yes, the finals will be in the US.
Gotcha.
Probably, I think in Houston is going to host the finals.
Gotcha.
So that's coming up down the line. Phillies baseball returning on the 21st. I think the first TV game is probably on the 22nd because they're on the road to start in Dunedin to play the Blue Jays.
Gotcha.
Sadly, I know that by heart, which I didn't think I need to know. Like I know more. The Red Sox are in Fort Myers, and I know the Rays are in Port Charlotte.
You knowing them all.
I know. By the end of the week of March 1st, I will know every team and where they're playing. So,
right around
Jupiter,
the corner.
Florida, I think.
That's
the
a big
Mets
one. That's
the
a big
Mets
one.
Are the Mets. There's a few teams down there. Fort Myers holds the Yankees, I think, or I could get them wrong. Or Tampa, I think, holds the Yankees.
Tampa sounds right.
Which is the strangest thing. That Tampa holds the Yankees, not the Rays, and the Rays play somewhere else.
Right. That's really interesting. Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. So. Bunch of different things coming up. New Phillies news. Hopefully, we'll see what happens with Castellanos. That's probably going to be the next podcast. It's going to be a breaking news of he's either traded or leaving. That's where we are right now, and we'll see what happens. So,
cool.
Any last thing that I
appreciate it. I think it was good. I love talking baseball.
Yeah,
I remember being a kid going over to my friend's house, the McDevitt's, and on like Sunday mornings sitting there with Johnny McDevitt and the paper out and going over all the stats because they'd only do like the whole league stats on Sunday, so you get to see everybody where everybody bat and going over. And I remember doing that as a young kid. So big fan of baseball. Looking forward to the season starting.
Yeah. Well, season not that far away. I think we're a little under 50 days, 40 some days away from opening day. And I'm looking at the calendar and trying to do quick math, which I don't feel like doing. But the 21st, because also when you listen to this, you might be listening to a different point. So the 21st of the Phillies' first spring training game, only 10 days away. So we'll see what happens down the line. Breaking News Podcast will be here whenever Castellanos' deal or whatever happens with him, or if he just gets released. I'd be happy with that. Then he can't go and hurt me on the Padres. And then the Padres will pick him up, and I'll be mad anyway.
Right.
So we'll see the Nick Castellanos thing, Breaking News Podcast as we go. More news, see what happens. And I don't know what my next guest is with this. It might probably be Caleb, like previewing some spring training stuff. And then I have Mr. Blizzard lined up, who's my guidance counselor, and then I have Mr. Tornabi and Mr. DeLucia, who are two of the girls' basketball coaches, but we're waiting until the basketball season ends, and then I will get the two of them on probably in March. So daily podcast coming up soon. Thank you again.
You got it, Kev. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Yep. And everyone, have a good night.
Have a great night, everybody.